Hello, I'm Sarah Davis from Integrated Treatment Services and welcome to my blog. This week I'm going to be talking about the health and social care plans which are due to be put in place for September. Some of you may have seen the BBC reports this week that were raising concerns about whether the actual changes will be in place and what this means for our children with special educational needs. Are they going to be better off for this change, or are they going to lose out at all? So just to give you a little bit of an overview, Mark Lever from the National Autistic Society has reported this week that the reforms for the SEN system that are taking place in this new health and social care plan is the biggest reforms for 30 years. And the government said that they would allow the change to take place gradually to make sure that no child would miss out in terms of sort of what current provision is on their statement of special educational needs, which it's important to state is a legal document entitling the child to exactly what support is listed in the statement. And obviously for health and social care plans there are some changes to this. Mark Lever was particularly concerned about the important details such as how families would challenge a decision to support their children, and this seems to still remain under review, and yet the health and social care plans are being launched in September. So there are concerns here around the timescales. There's an interview on BBC Live Breakfast which you can listen to now, which gives a really good overview of what his concerns are. So we'll play you that so you have a chance to listen to this.
We're at Bromston Primary School in Broadstairs in Kent, our big outside broadcaster week. We're asking this morning, do children with special educational needs get a fair deal? And I'm sure many of our listeners will have a view on this, given a personal experience of so many people in this country. Because a lot of children do have special educational needs. Now, more than 1.5 million children in state and private education in England have those special needs. From September, a system that's been in place for them for 30 years is going to change. Well, let's talk to our reporter Leslie Ashmore. Hello, Leslie. What's happening to special educational needs? Now, this is in England specifically we're talking about.
In England specifically, the law changed just last month. But as you say, from September, what's called the Special Educational Needs Statements will go in schools, and in will come a new Education, Health and Care Plan. Now, that will cover a person till they're 25, not just 16 at the moment. The government says this is much better, it's a more joined-up approach, but many people are worried that such big changes are just going to have such a short time to implement them. There could be problems. And I mean, Nikki, you can see the scale of the work involved at Bromston School. I spent a day there in their special educational needs departments, went round all the other classes as well, because as you know, it's an inclusive primary school. And I was shown round by Mandy Haddon, the SEN coordinator.
Well done, clever girl. Story time with Mick. That's lovely. This used to be called our Blossom class. We've now called it, changed to be our Platinum class. I have a very, very qualified staff working in here who have worked with children with multiple needs. It could be from autism to Down syndrome. We have cerebral palsy.
High ratio of staff to child here, I can see. And how many hours would a child be in this class, or does that vary?
That varies. That can vary from each individual child. We try to put them try to be in their class as much as possible. It could be that there's a PE lesson which we feel they can access, which they will access that. It could be the literacy lesson that they could access, then we'll do that. But if we see them struggling in any way and we feel that maybe they just need more of a nurture type environment, only for a little while, and then they'll go into their classrooms.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Aubrey. My name is Bethany.
This is Ruby. Hello, Ruby.
My name is Caden. Hello, my name is Kevin. Hello, my name is Joshua. I like being here with my friends. I do, because I'm really good at doing work. I am.
You're clever, are you?
Yeah.
What's your favourite thing to do at school?
Writing. I like doing playing.
That's not the real reason you come to school, though, is it?
Right.
What do you like? Do you like working at school as well?
Yeah.
What's your favourite thing to do?
Writing. Oh, I just want to go out and play everywhere.
You like playing too, do you? Kevin, what do you like to do?
I like to do numbers.
How many numbers can you count up to?
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm really good at counting up to 30, I am.
Okay, the challenge is on.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 12, 13, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
I think we'll have to fade you out.
Peel bananas. Chop, 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 chop bananas. Slice bananas.
We're from singing about healthy fruits out to the playground. Mandy, what are we looking at?
This is our Year 5 class, quite a challenging year group. We've quite a few children from the area that have come into the school in the last, I'll say, year or so. And you can see they are all working together.
There's no differentiation. There's only a couple of classes where the children are separate. Everybody.
Absolutely. And basically you can see from yourself that they're all enjoying themselves. There are a couple that decide to go off and do other things, but then things are arranged for them.
It must be quite difficult for you when there are behavioural issues in the general classroom environment.
Definitely, because it affects the other children's learning, and what we have to do is make sure we put strategies in place to stop that from happening.
Well, what do the other pupils think of the inclusion policy? Connor, Amy, Phoebe and Mio, you are all Year 6. What do you think of the school?
Oh, it's really good. It's like people that have disabilities, quite a nice environment to be in. I think it's what makes this school special. Since I joined, I think it's like made a real impact because it includes everyone. I think it's good for us so we can develop our social skills more. You can be from anywhere and you'll be different by more than just one way. Your personality could be completely different or just slightly different. Yeah, everybody's unique in their own way, so we should all include each other, really.
We're talking about special educational needs. Do children with those get a fair deal? There's big changes coming in September. Quick hello to Nigel Upton, the headmaster here. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Thank you very much for having us. We're in the beautiful library here. It's a lovely space, lovely school, great atmosphere. The Breakfast Club is just through the door there and on the left, and seeping through the smell of bacon sandwiches. That's all good. And so, how long have you been here?
I've been here for 6 years now.
Yeah, all good.
It's been an interesting road.
Well, we're going to talk about
me
the
later,
twists and turns in that road very shortly. I think it's great. It's beautifully signposted, this library. Religion, one way, myths and legends, nature, animals, science, human body, transport, art, music. Lovely, airy, light room. And I'll look forward to reading those. We're hearing from our listeners that the current provision for special educational needs is highly variable up and down the country. And we're going to speak now to Roger Goff, who's the Cabinet Member for Children's Services, Kent County Council. Good morning.
Good morning.
And we've got Nigel Upton here, the headmaster. You two have spoken together before, but you've never actually met each other.
I think we have met at a meeting, actually.
Right.
I was chair of Kent Association of Head Teachers, and I think we've met in that capacity.
Sell the idea, Roger, of these changes to us very briefly.
The idea is that, firstly, parents and families should be much more central to the process. I think in the past, for a lot of aspects of special educational needs have seemed to have been very confrontational.
So it's going from special educational needs statements to education, health and care plans.
Yeah, which is the other dimension, which is bringing the different agencies together. So health, education, other elements of the support that young people and their families need.
Better for parents, better for children.
Exactly.
What's your problem with it, Nigel?
The problem with it is it's like all the education reforms, it's happening too quickly. And we hear a lot about consultation, but my school begged to be in the consultation. We're probably one of the most inclusive schools in Kent, and we begged desperately to be there. And it never happened. That they've got a school here which is one of the most inclusive schools in England. I'm recognised as one of the most inclusive head teachers. We offered our services, and nothing happened.
How exasperating is that?
It's typical of what's going on in education at the moment. Actually, that there's a sort of a patter that there's consultation with people, but the consultation isn't real. It's not. If you really talk to what's happening to children with special needs, what you'll find is that there are schools up and down the country who aren't even letting children with special needs into the school. I've had 100 children join my school in the past 2 years, which is shocking. And the majority of those parents say they're coming to us because their children are no longer welcome in their local schools, and most of those schools are, shamefully, academies.
There are a combination of schools across, if we just take Kent or indeed Thanet, which are inclusive, which do draw in children with special educational needs. Nigel's school certainly is very inclusive. I think we would absolutely accept that.
But it's just patter. It's just patter. It's not genuine consultation. That's the charge.
Well, we've worked with schools. For example, back in January, we had a major event for launching our SEN strategy, which is all about these changes. We had 600 representatives from schools there. We're working very closely with schools, and we were a pilot, a pathfinder for these changes across the country, and that was bringing together families and schools.
Now, there's some charities are concerned about the speed of the changes. We're at Bromston Primary School, as I say, the head teacher, Nigel Utton, we heard from Nigel, who's also involved with the Alliance for Inclusive Education. Hello again, Nigel. We've got Sarah Selby-Bird, co-chair of the Kent Parent Carer Forum. We've got some seagulls, and Sarah has 2 children with special educational needs. Has been involved in the pilot scheme for the changes here in Kent. And I think that's Donna who's just come in. Morning again, Donna. Sarah, tell us how provisions are generally across this county at the moment.
We did a survey to parents asking them if they felt children with special educational needs get a fair deal. And the results were really alarming for us as a forum. We were actually very emotional reading them. 73% said no, 18% said yes, and 39% said not sure.
What does a fair deal mean?
Well, we just still said to them, what's your experience? How do you feel? And they basically saying that their children are not treated equal. They are not given the same rights and the same provisions. And they felt very let down. I mean, the biggest response we had was if a child is not disruptive, is academically bright, has moderate needs, and you're a parent who is not able to push for things, you do not get a fair deal.
So as you can hear from the podcast, there are a lot of concerns about whether these plans will be in place in time for September. And I guess really I wanted to talk through with you what you can do to ensure that your child is protected, that their needs are recognised, and that you're on top of making sure that they don't miss out with any crossover to the new plans. So I think practical tips, first and foremost, make sure that you're very much aware of what their actual entitlements are in terms of teaching assistant support, in terms of speech and language therapy visits, occupational therapy visits. There might be arts therapies like a play therapist, and obviously physiotherapy. Do they have to have any contact with the educational psychologist? Looking at their review meetings, what kind of environment is important for them to learn in, what kind of strategies need to be used. And all I would say is, in order to make sure that you're on top of exactly what your child is entitled to, do make sure you're very familiar with the new plan. Make sure that you're very familiar with your child's existing or old statement, and make sure that you're happy with the crossover between what reads now in the plan reflects what the needs were in the statement. As they've said, no child should miss out, no child's need should be reduced unless a need has actually changed. So we're really talking about sort of at annual reviews, whether the actual wording in the new plan is therefore changed because there's been a reduction in need. So that could be possible, but what we need to make sure is that there isn't a reduction in need that's listed in the new plan without that being agreed by everybody. So do make sure that you thoroughly read through and check that you feel it reflects everything that was on your child's statement. The other thing that we always advise parents to do is to keep records. So if you know that they're entitled to X amount of support, X amount of hours of speech and language therapy as an example, then ask to have a record book which is signed by the therapist that has a start time and a finish time of all the visits, and also maybe a comment section so you can keep updated. You should always be aware of when a therapist is visiting your child. You should never be kept in the blue about that. It's a right that you have to ensure you know who is seeing your child, when they're seeing them, for how long, what kind of work they'll be doing, and also to get feedback. So I sometimes say sort of just set yourself up like a little therapy book, which all the therapists, when they're visiting your child, can actually make sure that they write in, sign out of, write a description of what they did, who they liaised with, and give you some feedback. And never feel hesitant about asking a therapist to have a telephone call afterwards. Never feel hesitant about asking a therapist to record the video with a video session of the actual activity that they did or the assessment that they did. If you don't ask, you don't get. So I think it's really important that you recognise what do you need for your child to help you better understand what you can do to support them and what support is being put in place when you're not there. So I hope this has been useful. school, do read the BBC news article, because I think that's a really good overview to help you understand what's happening and the changes ahead. Do listen to the podcast, and there's some further footage there that we haven't listened to today, but really help to sort of give you a flavour of what's happening in schools, some of the concerns that head teachers have right the way across the country, and how we can make sure that we can ensure our children are better off for the new changes, and that no sort of significant level of support is lost. So if you have any concerns at all and you want to talk through your child, please do get in contact. We'll be happy to help and signpost you to any areas we think that could support you. The website is www.integratedtreatments.co.uk. Thanks for listening.